After 6 years of recession, the situation in Greece is growing increasingly dark. As the unemployment rate continues to rise and salaries continue to drop, the country has descended into an increasingly unpredictable social crisis.
There is a huge amount of unemployment in Greece. It's like the 25% of the people doesn't work. More people are in the streets. Things are getting worse every day.
It's a very intense way of living. It's not something that you can just ignore and just like walk by. People really start to feel that this is not a temporary situation, that this really is an attempt to really kind of degrade their lives and to change them beyond recognition.
As the government prepares to pass yet another round of austerity measures, people who have already lost 30% or all of their income are growing increasingly distrustful of the fiscal policies being pushed upon Greece by the International Monetary Fund, the European Central Bank and the European Union, otherwise known as the Troika.
We've been here saying that the markets will decide for Greece, for Spain, for Italy. Who the fuck is the markets?
You have a government which doesn't care about its people. They think about the banks being their prime interest, and they're giving billions and billions of euros to the banks, and it's killing its people.
On October 18, 2012, Greece held its 20th general strike since the Troika arrived in the country on May 2010. During the October 18th strike, a 65-year-old protester died due to heart failure, possibly linked to the inhalation of large amounts of tear gas.
You have a situation where violence is kind of becoming banal to such an extent that even at the last strike there was another demonstrator who died. During the strike, it comes to show that the level of violence has gone up to such a level that it now becomes almost a given, that people might die during a strike in Greece, which a few years ago would have been completely unimaginable. You can see despair all around you. You can see people's lives ruined day after day. But at the same time, you can see an incredible amount of anger mounting up. So this is why I was talking about the general strikes as being irrelevant by this point, because a demonstration going from A to B for most people is not enough. They're really expecting and preparing for a much more intense kind of level of tension and of clash that's about to come up.
Faced with the destruction of the Greek welfare state, many people in Greece have lost faith in their government.
There's nothing for the state to promise now. What? Better education, better wages, better life? Nothing. They cannot promise anything.
Personally, I don't trust anyone. I mean, I don't feel that I want to be represented. I don't feel that this is a way of doing things anymore.
Many people have turned to self-organization to meet their most basic needs. They have been developing alternative economies, holding mass gatherings, and building networks between the many subsistence initiatives emerging all over Greece.
In the neighborhood, they organize a collective, we call it collective kitchen. It's like they cook all together and they eat all together. They gather and they exchange things. They are very creative in the way they try to survive.
From October 19th to 21st, 2012, people from all over the country came together for an alternative economy festival in the outskirts of Athens.
Υπάρχουν εργαστήρια όπου συλλογικότητες παρουσιάζουν τη δουλειά που έχουν κάνει. Υπάρχει ανταλλακτικό παζάρι αγαθών και βιβλίων, συλλογική κουζίνα, πολλά πολιτιστικά δρόμενα και ο στόχος είναι με όλα αυτά να διαμορφώσουμε ένα χώρο όπου δεν θα παίζει ρόλο το χρήμα και η σχέση της αγοράς. Το δίλημμα είναι ότι αν αφήσουμε τα πράγματα να κινούνται όπως κινούνται, πηγαίνουμε με μαθηματική ακρίβεια σε μια μεγάλη κοινωνική καταστροφή.
In the midst of growing social instability and economic uncertainty, a far-right party, the Golden Dawn, has gained considerable ground.
Εδώ και αρκετούς μήνες έχουμε σχεδόν κάθε βράδυ φαινόμενα οργανωμένων ομάδων, οι οποίες έχουν συνήθως κράνη, καλυμμένα πρόσωπα, έχουν ρόπαλα, έχουν συχνά μαχαίρια, οι οποίοι ξεχύνονται το βράδυ σε περιοχές της Αθήνας που ζουν μετανάστες και επιτίθενται σε μετανάστες και τους χτυπάνε.
In the last elections, the Golden Dawn gained 18 seats in Parliament.
More than 60% of acting police officers seem to have voted for Golden Dawn.
Anti-fascists all over Greece have been organizing demonstrations and patrols to protect immigrants and to counteract the power of the far right. Over the past few months, there have been over 120 anti-fascist actions.
The anti-fascist movement has been gaining momentum, and in the past months alone there's been, just as an example, there's been these 3 anti-fascist motorcycle demonstrations in Athens, where people have been gathering and just driving through the neighborhoods where Golden Dawn have been trying to establish a presence, or been successful in establishing a presence, basically making very clear that these streets don't belong to the Golden Dawn, and that people would stand in solidarity with the migrants. So at the last motorcycle demonstration, there was a confrontation with 3 very well-known Golden Dawn members. In total on that night, 15 anti-fascists were arrested, and as is by now fairly well documented, they were tortured by police.
When I went there and saw them, I was shocked by what I saw about the beatings. And I tried to take some photographs with my mobile phone. The heavy bruises are not inflicted by one hit. These are repeatedly hits with different instruments and means in the same body parts, and that can happen only if you intend to inflict severe pain on someone, if you want to torture him. What we heard from the 15 arrested people is that they were hitting them, they were slapping them, they were spitting them, they were using them as ashtrays. Other policemen was filming on their cell phones, on the mobile phones, and taping all these incidents and then mistreatments, and terrorized the arrested people by saying that they will use these videos and photographs to give them to Golden Dawn. They said openly that we are members of the Golden Dawn and we will fuck you up. You can forget everything that has happened so far. This is a new era.
Το θράσος των δραστών αυτών των ενεργειών ήταν τεράστιο. Και αυτό που μας προβληματίζει είναι ότι παρά τις καταγγελίες, παρά το γεγονός ότι οι καταγγελίες βγήκαν σε διεθνή μέσα, παρά το γεγονός ότι τεκμηριώνονται από φωτογραφίες, αλλά και από τις ιατροδικαστικές εκθέσεις, οι οποίες βεβαιώνουν τις κακοποίησεις, την κακοποίηση που υπέστησαν τα παιδιά, ο Υπουργός Δημόσιας Τάξης αρνείται να αναγνωρίσει αυτή την πραγματικότητα και από ό,τι φαίνεται μέχρι στιγμής τουλάχιστον πρόθεσή του είναι να την συγκαλύψει.
He said that he will sue the Guardian, the British newspaper that took out this report. And let me be frank with you, I hope he does. They don't need to get elected or to be the second party or to gain the elections and be the first party in order to govern. They have already infiltrated the police in such a way and in such a manner that they can do everything. They feel powerful. My only hope that Greece will not become like Germany in the 30s is that in this case I hope that the internal enemy will fight back.
Faced with a political situation designed by the Troika, executed by the government, and policed by the Golden Dawn, people in Greece are preparing for the next stage of struggle.
The Greek authorities are very right to be afraid at this moment because they've pissed off enough people, and they've not just pissed them off, but they've pushed them to the brink of survival. It's not about bringing down a certain government. That means nothing. Since the beginning of the crisis, we brought down 2 governments and we keep going. There's going to be a few more. That's no problem anymore. That's fairly easy. There's already indications and fears that the current regime is going to try and transform itself into something much more totalitarian. And it's a question of whether a popular uprising will proceed and be able to face against that. People have started and will continue fighting for their lives.